Alright, we're going to solve some two-step equations here. We'll start out with the equation 2x plus 20 is equal to 54. Okay, so when I'm solving these equations, what we're going to do to start off with is make a chart for the operations on x and the inverse operations. I'm just going to abbreviate the inverse operations so that I can fit it on my screen here. Okay, and basically what I want to do is cut my equation in half right at the equal sign. That's the middle of my equation. And I'm going to look over here on the left with the x and see what's happening to the x. So I notice that the x is being multiplied by 2, and I'm also adding 20 to it. So in my operations over here, I'm going to say that it's being multiplied by 2 and that I'm adding 20 to my x. Alright, how do I know that I put the times 2 first and the plus 20 second? Well, if I think of the order of operations, multiplying comes before addition, so I'm following the order of operations. Times 2 plus 20. Now my inverse operations means that I'm going backwards. So I'm going to draw an arrow, and I want to start at the bottom, and I want to do the opposite. So the opposite of plus 20 is minus 20, and the opposite of times 2 is divided by 2. Now I'm actually going to do my work here. So right here, this inverse operations column, those are the directions to answer this problem. So I am going to first subtract 20 from both sides, and 20 take away 20 is 0, that's gone. So I'm left with 2x equals 54 minus 20, which is 34. Alright, now the next thing that I'm supposed to do, it says I'm supposed to divide by 2. So I'm going to take what I have and I'm going to divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I have 1x equals 17. Just like that. So that's the answer to my equation. Now, hold on here. I'm going to fix some stuff up and then I'll show you how to check your answer. Alright, well, I'm ready to go. So let's check our work. Let's use a different color. Let's use purple. Alright, purple. Alright, so I'm going to write, whoops, I didn't even click it. There we go, purple. So I'm going to check my work. We'll do this in purple. Alright, so you write the word check. And what you do to check is you take your original equation, 2x plus 20 equals 54. And you plug in what we think the answer is. We think it's 17. So in the place where x is, I'm going to put 17. Scroll down here. And we follow the order of operations on the left. So I multiplied 2 and 17 before I add 20. 2 times 17 is 34. There's my plus 20 dropping down and my equal sign of my 54. And then I add 34 and 20. And I get the left side is 54 and the right side was already 54, and since they match, that means I did the right thing. So that's telling me that this 17 that I substituted in is indeed the answer. So over here I'm circling it twice. Looks like ketchup and mustard. X equals 17 is my answer. Alright, so we have another equation here, 10 equals 6 minus 2x, and we want to make a chart, an operations, inverse operations. I'm just going to put OP for operations and inverse operations. We'll abbreviate that. And I'm going to split my equation in half. So I look over on the side over here with the x. That's where you start out with. And the first thing that I see is that I'm multiplying by -2, and even though I don't see it, there's really a plus 6 right there. That's a positive 6, so I can think about that as being plus 6. And so for my chart, I write that I'm multiplying by -2 and I'm adding 6. Okay. Remember, multiplication comes before addition in the order of operations, so that's why I put the multiplication first. Now, when I do the opposite. I do the opposite of plus 6, which is minus 6. And I do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. And I divide by negative 2. Alright, now I actually want to solve my equation. So remember this inverse operation column, that is the column that tells me what to do. The first thing I'm supposed to do on the left and right is subtract 6. So I do that here. 10 minus 6 is 4. Equal sign drops down. These 6's cancel out, which is great. And I have minus 2x. The second thing my chart tells me to do is divide by negative 2. So on both sides, I divide by negative 2. On the left, I have 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. On the right, negative 2 over negative 2 is 1. So I'm left with 1x. And that gives me my answer of x is equal to negative 2. I'm going to check it. So I take my purple pen here. If you have a purple pen, get your purple pen out. I'm going to write the word check. I'm going to write the original equation, which was 10 equals 6 minus 2x. And I'm going to substitute in negative 2. Look, I put parentheses around it because I subbed it in for a variable. And I want to see what happens here. So on the left I have 10. That doesn't change. On the right I have 6. Negative 2 times negative 2, well, that's positive 4. The left stays 10. Nothing to do over there on the left. On the right I have 6 plus 4, that's 10. 10 and 10 match. It checks out for me. That tells me that negative 2 is my answer, and you can see right there that's what I had. So I'm good to go. X is equal to negative 2 is my answer. Let's do one more problem here. Alright, so I lied. We might do 2 more problems. Let's see. I already set up my problem and made my chart operations, inverse operations. So let's see what's happening over here to this m. I noticed that I'm dividing this time. This is a negative 2 because of this minus sign right here. So I'm dividing by negative 2. And remember, this is a plus 4 because you look in front and there's no sign, which means it's positive. So I do that. If I check, dividing comes before addition. Okay, following the order of operations over here. Now over here we want to do the opposite. Now this is when we subtract 4. Opposite of dividing is multiplying by negative 2. Alright, so we go over here and we do the work that the inverse operations column tells me to do. It tells me to subtract 4 on both sides, so I do that right there. And right there, once on the left, once on the right. Do a little underlining. I have 4 take away 4, that's 0, gone. Negative sign, m over 2, that drops down. Equal sign drops down, and 10 minus 4 is 6. Okay, my chart, I go back over to that thing, and it tells me that I want to multiply by negative 2 on both sides. So times negative 2 times negative 2. Do that on both sides. Let's see here. If I want to make this a fraction over here, since I'm multiplying times a fraction, I can do that. I have a negative times a negative, which is a positive. I have 2 times m, which is 2m, over 1 times 2, which is 2. Equal sign drops down. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. We're almost finished here. We just have to simplify. I have to recognize that 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So I have 1m is equal to negative 12. Or you could write it without the 1. If you don't see a 1, or you don't see a number in front of the m, or any variable, it's implied that it's a 1. So we're saying that m is equal to negative 12. Let's check this. Make sure it's right here. Let's see what color I want to use. Oh, purple is my checking color today. So we'll check. Write the word check, so whoever's looking at this knows that that's what I'm doing here in purple. So I have 4 minus m over 2 is equal to 10. That's my original equation. Scroll down a little bit here. I'm going to take and substitute in negative 12, which I think my answer is. Do a little simplifying here. So I have 4 Negative followed by another negative, we know that's plus. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then I have a 10. 4 plus 6 is 10. Already have 10 on the right. They match. Good to go. That means that is my answer. Alright, we're ready to go for our last problem. I have it all set up. Split my equation in half. Look over on the side with the A. I am dividing by 3. And I am subtracting 2. Division before subtraction in order of operations. I'm ready to go. I'm going to do the opposite. Plus 2 times 3. Now I'm going to do a little work. Remember, I'm looking over here at inverse operations. It tells me what to do. I'm going to add 2. So I have 17 is equal to A over 3. Negative 2 plus 2. Gone. That's what we wanted to have happen. Alright, my next step is to multiply by 3. So put a dot for multiplying. Do the same thing on both sides. I have 3 times 17 on the left, which is, let me do that multiplication, 51. Equal sign comes down. 3's cancel, which gives me just an A, which is what I want. And so I have A is equal to 51. I'll use my purple checking pen to check. Let's see here. I'm going to write down my original equation. Scroll down to give myself some more room. I'm going to throw in or substitute in the 51. Throw in isn't necessarily the best word to use. Substitute my 51 in place of my A. I'm going to simplify 51 divided by 3. Well, I can do that over here because it's slightly tricky. 3 into 5 one time. 3 times 1 is 3, so I put a 3 there and subtract. This is 2. Bring down my 1. 3 goes into 21 7 times, and 3 times 7 is 21, so I get my 0 that I'm looking for. So I have 17 minus 2, and 17 minus 2 is 15. 15's match. I'm good to go. 51 is my answer.